that would be it. But I'm totally open on what it is we do. And I think the mayor just communicated to me non-verbally what he thinks about golf carts and so forth on city streets. I do have a good track record working with cities. After the census, we determined that the city of Rockwell City was about 1,200 people. The census was down, which just happens to coincide with the number of people that are imprisoned there. And in fact, we looked at the census cells where the North Central Correctional Facility is located, not one person lived there. And you would think, okay, we brought it to their attention, you'd think that, okay, let's correct it. It literally required, not an act of Congress, an act of the state legislature that I passed. And so Rockwell City will be getting about a 48,000 or 50, well, they get it retroactive, so they'll be getting like a $100,000 check later this fall, and about $50,000 a year for the next 7 years. And so that was simply because they brought it to my attention, and I work hard for my bosses, you folks. And so I want to thank you for inviting me to be here tonight, and I'll be glad to either respond now or I'll stay after the meeting if some of you would like to have some questions or some specific input.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Next, we need a motion to approve a request for a street closure and waiver for vendor fees from the Humboldt and Dakota City Chamber of Commerce for the Downtown Sounds event on Thursday, October 3rd.
This Downtown Sounds will be the chili cook-off, and we'll only close the block of Sumner Avenue between 8th Street and Taft on October 3rd from 3:30 p.m. to 12 p.m.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Next, we need a motion to approve the quote for workers' compensation coverage from the Iowa Municipal Workers' Compensation Association, known as IMWCA, and authorize the change in policy carrier. Larry, maybe you could fill us in a little bit on.
Talk about it.
I'll give you a little information to maybe make this a little bit clearer. When we got the July 1st renewal, our workers' compensation, unfortunately, due to some experience issues the last couple of years, our experience modification factor, which directly affects the premium, took a considerable increase, and it caused a considerable increase in the city's work comp package. That's a twofold problem. When you look for other markets that maybe would quote this, they tend to shy away from that kind of an experience mod, but I did convince IMWCA to come up and at least take a look with no commitment to see if this is something that's manageable. I said we've really had decent experience over the years, and just got caught a little bit in a couple of years with a couple of severe claims that really kind of skewed things. So hopefully we can get that back on the right track. But they did come back and offer, I think they see some positive things. They visited with the city department heads and Aaron and Gloria, and I know Tony, and I don't know if they visited with you, Walt, or not. But anyway, I think they were favorably impressed with the things that the city can and has done to try to get back on the right track here. I just wanted to show you, they did make an offer, and they're willing to, go right away midterm with the offer. We pinned it for the 10th, which, because of the meeting tonight, but obviously you don't need to necessarily do it that quickly, but the quicker the better, I guess, if you're looking at the bottom line. Just to give you a comparison, the 2 pages they gave you were the renewal statement, which our bottom line renewal was $90,537 this year. If you compare that, I put a little asterisk by their annual premium, had they jumped in here July 1, would have been $72,888. So it's about not quite an $18,000 savings, I think, which is very substantial. And they do have some excellent loss control. They do require a couple things, but I think those have been discussed with the fire department in various cities, or the various department heads, so I think we've got most of that resolved. Right now, prorated premium would be $58,709, and of course, you would get a prorated refund from the other company to offset that. So I would look, even for the balance of this year, we could probably save in the neighborhood of $15,000 over what we had. And I guess that would be my recommendation to the council. Be happy to answer any questions if you guys, I know these terms, we throw them out rather loosely in our business, and they may not mean anything to you people, but I want to, make sure everybody understands what this is. The IMWCA is an organization actually formed by the League of Cities in 1981, so their track record is excellent. They have a number of members throughout the state of Iowa. We actually have 4 smaller communities in the Humboldt County area that do participate in this program. So.
And just to give a kind of a snapshot of the reason our modification factor is 1.62 is we have 3 large claims that are sitting on our experience. A firefighter that got burned very badly, back injury with the police department, and then kind of a weird injury with the library. And so those have been the large claims that are kind of sitting in the experience that are driving up. You can see, I mean, that bumps up the premium pretty significantly after you look at the modified premium. So if we can get that back to a 1 or less, then there's some significant savings that can be experienced there. This is all pass-through funds through the trust and agency account. So it's all, I mean, not pass-through, but it's all funds that are directly accounted for on property taxes through that trust and agency account. And so it can keep going up, and you can keep covering it, but it drives our property tax rate when we have the higher modification factor. So when you talk about, what was it, 18,000? You said 18,000.
Yeah, just a little under 18,000
So
on an annual
18,000.
savings
I mean, that's like
And that's
13 cents. on
just
the
if you
levy,
notice,
probably.
right? If you notice on the right-hand side of that front page there, loss experience, there are additional credits available in this program, up to 18% for loss experience credit, and longevity credit, which, of course, each year you participate, you get an extra point or 2 on longevity. So there is another possible 26% there that would we'd like to see this thing get back down into the 50,000 range where it was 5 or 6 years ago.
And I think one of the other things we're going to try and push a little bit harder on is getting people into light duty rather than letting them.
They
rather
work
than
very
having them go
closely
and
with
work
the
on.
city in establishing, getting people back to work is a key, because you have to pay, their wages through, I guess the insurance is paying it. However, you can see it kind of comes back to haunt you a little bit. So if there are duties that these people can do, maybe they can't be a police officer or collect the refuge or whatever, but they might be able to do some other things that would not be prohibited, get them back to work a little bit quicker.
One of the examples they use is like scanning documents. We're in the process of putting all of our documents electronically so that they're can be saved in perpetuity and viewable and searchable for everybody within the community. Something like that would be something that somebody who's injured would probably perform.
That's one of the benefits they'll offer to Aaron and Gloria and everybody else are in a consulting factor, as well as consulting the clients themselves, the injured party, seeing what they're able to do, work with their medical providers to make sure everything's okay. So, they have excellent 24/7 nurse on call, so the claims can go in immediately. That way we're getting on top of them immediately and not letting them drag out there, perhaps turn into something worse.
Any questions for Larry?
I would move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Larry, very much.
Okay, thank you. I'm gonna leave this this will need to be signed by, and I already have the original form, so I think all these have been met, but
Okay.
Mayor Walt needs to sign it, and then Tony, and we'll get that going and get everything else sent in, so. All right, thanks.
Thank you, Larry.
Thanks, Larry.
Last, we need a motion to approve the renewal of a Class C liquor license and outdoor service privilege for Sylvia and Thomas Drain doing business as Sit and Bull Saloon. Any orders, Gloria?
That's actually pending dram shop, but other than that, yeah, everything's in order.
Move to approve. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Move on to our public hearing. We need a motion to adjourn the city council meeting at 6 o'clock.
Move. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We need a motion to come to order as Drainage District 13A trustees at 6:01.
Move. Move. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? This being the time and place for the scheduled public hearing on the Commissioner's reports for the Humboldt County Drainage District 13A, I will resume the public hearing at 6:01. Aaron?
Met with Rick Hopper earlier today and discussed where we were at with the Commissioner's report. He turned over the two reports, the one for future repairs and the one for the 2009 construction and all the repairs up until today. And so he gave the report that the amounts actually within the report, none of them went up. So they all went down due to the fact that there was a duplication that existed in the amounts that he took from the city of Humboldt. It was 180, roughly 180,000, and then somehow those invoices got counted twice. With that 180, the amount that's included in the report actually decreased even with the amount of land being pulled out and the slight modifications to several parcels of land. The result is that there's no notification actually required because all the amounts have decreased within the report. So the notices that have already went out will be sufficient because nobody will have that increase. With that in mind, the total amount, the average, obviously you can't say a blanket statement that everybody's went down by X percent, but the percentage that the vast majority went down by was about 10%. So some more, some less, but roughly most parcels will be about 10%. With that in mind, obviously Rick's not here, there's really not much more to do with this hearing other than receive the commissioner's report, the two commissioners' reports, and set the next hearing on the 23rd, which would be the final consideration of the reports. And then pending no objections that the council see, or the trustees see fit for extending the hearing even further, then you would accept the commissioner's report, and then it would be, we would close out at that point. So outside of, just listening if there's any further objections, that I think that's really the intent, and that's why Rick's not here. He said he would be happy to respond to anything, but he didn't really see that there was much to talk about.
Gloria, do we have any additional written comments or objections on file?
No.
Do we have any comments or objections from the general public in attendance this evening?
I'd like to speak if I could, please. My name's Ray Stockdale, for the record. And accordingly, I was under the assumption that the property that was reclassified after the work was done is supposed to be eliminated for the ag property out on the north edge of town.
The part that was taken off, you mean, Ray?
Yes,
Okay.
because the work was done prior to the property being classified into the drainage district.
That was our understanding, I think, yes.
Okay, so my initial acres that were published in the paper are 48.9087. That's to the 10 thousandths, if you people realize that. That's to 4 square feet.
Now, this is what was taken off, you say, Ray, or?
No, that was the total that I have that was published in the paper, and that includes the reannexation property. And I've got a copy here that my wife gave me today. while the figures are less and the rates are less, the acres are exactly the same, 48.9087.
And you're saying, Ray, that some of those should have been taken off because it was done before the reclassification? But the acres are the same as it was before the...
Yes, and I don't know whether they want to just take off dollars or whether they want to take off acres, but I was under the assumption that the initial acres that were assessed to me in 2009, I believe it was, were something in the neighborhood of 12 acres. I'm assuming the first two entries I had here are 0.56 acres and 11.35 acres. Which if memory serves me, that was about somewhere in the neighborhood of $3,000.
Which page are
This
you
is what
looking
he
at?
has right
Oh,
here.
okay.
He has this page with the amounts.
So it's page one.
Page 76. That's what he's looking at.
Oh, it's 76, okay, that's what I was gonna say, it's, I don't think it's one.
Page 1 of 76.
Oh, one of 76,
1
okay.
of 76.
This is the page he has.
Well, there have been some adjustments on the dollars. For instance, on the .56 acres, the new assessment is $77.47, vice $84.41. On the 11.3 acres, it's now $2,785.70, vice the original $3,035.
About the 10% was what we just talked about.
Somewhere in that neighborhood, yes. Now, I don't have the 2009 paper anymore. I will, maybe, do we have those figures here? So that I can
2000.
compare the initial
This is
drainage assessment that we got to all these subsequent ones?
This looks like it's the same. Well, something that'll have to go to, I'll have to get it to Rick and have him try and
Well,
take a look at it and get a response back to you.
well, what I was alluding to, Aaron, is if they republish this thing in the paper, then these acres aren't gonna be right.
Well, that's what I